Hi, Stuart Bruce here, and I am the Spare Time Property Investor. In these podcasts, I'm going to share tips, tricks and lessons that I've learned and will hopefully help you, especially if you're still working the 9 to 5. Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Spare Time Property Investor podcast. Today, I'm joined by Kelly and Lee from Avalily Property, and they're talking about their new book. It's all about interior design, and Lara, my partner in crime, wife, and everything else is featured in the book, but that's not why we've got them on today. It's a really, really good book and it's for a good cause as well, but I won't go into too much detail because I'll let them describe what it's all about in the episode. So without wanting to waste any more time, let's get to the chat with Kelly and Lee from Avalily. Thanks again, guys, for coming back onto the podcast. We have Kelly and Lee from Avalily. So if you could just, reintroduce yourselves and let me kind of know what you've been up to in property, but then we'll quickly go on to talk about your new book.
Oh, this is so exciting. Thank you for having us back on. It's really good to catch up again. So we are Kelly and Lee, and we've actually got baby Edie with us today as well, who is a very recent arrival to the family. So we are Avalily Property. We set up Avalily Property last year. It's been a year, over a year now. We have a couple of buy-to-let properties, and property was always something that we wanted to do a little bit more of. And COVID kind of gave us the opportunity to have a bit more time to dedicate to it, because Lee is a wedding photographer and could not work last year. But we have just completed on our first, what will be our first HMO up in Wirral. So we've got a 3-bed mid-terrace, which we're going to make into a mini-mo for young professionals. And we're just about to start the reno on that in September, aren't we?
Yeah, so quite a lot's happened since we last came on the podcast, I think, isn't it? Really, to be fair.
Yeah, because I think when we were kind of just starting out the company, I think, when we first came on, and we talked a lot about the full-time roles and stuff that we have as well. But
yeah, I think we was hoping to have our HMO done and dusted last year, really, but because of the situation with COVID and stuff, it didn't really happen, and house prices just skyrocketed because of all the stamp duty. And
I think everyone's been struggling in one way or another, either getting the properties because people are rushing to buy properties and pay more than they would have if they just paid stamp duty and things like that, and all that sort of good stuff, and the availability, and and getting into see properties at certain times as well has been really difficult. So you're not alone. It's been a really weird 12 months or so, or even how long's COVID? That must be 18 months or something. But it's been
it feels like a lifetime.
It feels like an absolute lifetime. I can't quite remember what life was like before all of this, but it feels like a really strange kind of period, especially kind of getting your first HMO set up and stuff like that. So amazing. But clearly you haven't just been buying your first HMO. You've got the new addition to your family, but also you've been pulling together this amazing book. So if you just describe what the book is, and let us kind of dig into it a little bit.
I'd love to take all the credit for this ebook, but it's pretty much been all of Kelly's doing, really, to be fair.
Oh, I just
so I'll hand you over to her.
Oh, thanks. So we're really open about our kind of infertility struggles and things that have happened to us over the years. And we've been through multiple rounds of IVF. We've suffered really, heartbreaking losses over the last kind of, we've been trying for a family for about 8.5 years now. And finally have succeeded with that. But we've always been kind of really open about, talking about the things that we've been through, just so that we can help other people that would be in similar situations. And every couple of years, we've just tried to do a fundraiser for people that have supported us, or organisations that have been there for us over the years. And a few years ago, my company turned, my agency, Rubber Cheese, turned 15. And so we tried to raise £15,000 over the space of a year by doing lots of like really weird fundraisers. We did like a 15-hour dance-a-thon. We broke a world record for eating a can of cheddar cheese Pringles in the fastest amount of time. There's videos on YouTube. You can watch all of this. It's mad, all the weird shit that we did. It was incredible. But that was for an organisation called Tamba, who supported us when we lost our twins. But there's been other organisations that have kind of really helped us along the way, and Petals Charity has been one of those organisations that has kind of been there throughout the whole of the journey.
Yeah.
And we really wanted to do something to be able to support them. So I had this idea about creating an ebook that was somehow, people could kind of download it as a donation, but it was somehow tied to the property world as well, because we've built this incredible community of people. People have been they've just been so kind of warm and welcoming since we've started this journey. And we wanted to kind of create something that brought those two worlds together.
Yeah.
And I kept reading a lot about how developers would have challenges around, designing for HMOs, and kind of interior designs in general. So they might have like a really strong grasp of like numbers and deals and stuff, but design wasn't really their bag. And I was thinking, well, design is our bag. We used to be graphic designers. There's loads of skills that are kind of transferable in terms of interior design. Maybe there's something there that I could kind of pull together. And I just kind of put it out there a little bit. And I asked our mentors, I spoke to May Green about it, and Rob and Sarah were really encouraging. Especially Sarah had some really good conversations with her about what this book format could be like.
Yeah.
And then I basically just asked as many amazing developers and interior designers as I could possibly ask if they would contribute to the book. So I keep saying that we wrote a book, but they wrote the book, really. I just wrote an intro.
It's amazing though, because correct me if I've got it wrong, but you've got 16, is it 16 people who have contributed to it?
Yeah. Well, us and 15 incredible people.
Yeah.
We've got a tiny little bit there.
So, but you're not just talking about it from one perspective. You're not just kind of sharing, a narrow field of expertise. You've gathered together this whole kind of bag of people who are just sharing loads and loads of tips, their experiences, advice, all of that sort of business, all in one book, which I think is a great way to, kind of show what people can do in their proproperties and other things.
Thank you. I think I just wanted it to be really broad in terms of the advice. So I think what we've done is we've asked developers who have a really kind of really strong design background. So people like May Green and B Space and Elite Dwellings, and your good wife Lara, who has contributed to it as well, who's awesome. Sure. And we've just got like really great perspectives from those people who are kind of like they're developers and designers, but then also from specialist interior designers as well. So I've just been a bit blown away really by the people that we've asked who have said yes. Christian Bentz said yes, and the guys at 2LG Studio said yes, and it was just like, wow, this is amazing. Like I
think it just goes to show that you just need to ask the question, because when you asked all these people, you were so nervous that we're not going to get any replies back.
I know.
And we've just been overwhelmed. Like everyone is basically wanted to contribute, haven't they?
Yeah, so they really have.
Been like incredible, really, to be fair.
And everybody is given, like you say, such a different perspective on what they would do. And I think that was one of the things that I spoke to Sarah about is how to structure the book in terms of what questions what do you want to know from these people. Yeah. And so it's a little bit of insight in terms of how they've got to where they've got to. If people are thinking about starting an interior design career, or thinking about studying that alongside what they're doing in terms of development, but then also like tips and tricks and things that they do, or they advise their clients to do as well. So it's such a great educational piece. I've learned so much personally from it, and every download goes towards helping Petals charity, which has just done amazing things for us. I mean, Petals is a specialist bereavement counselling service that runs at 10 hospitals currently, kind of in the southeast region. But they help couples like us who have suffered loss in some way, and that might be through miscarriage or stillbirth or termination for medical reasons, whatever that may be. They are on hand to offer you, that specialist grief counselling that you really need, and they're somebody that you can talk to when you've got nobody else to talk to about the things that you're going through. And it's such a vital service. It helps so many couples, and we would love to see that at more and more hospitals up and down the country.
No, it sounds like
so. It was important that we could do something that was useful for people like us who've been through those kind of traumas. But the book would be, really important into the property community.
Absolutely. So just to put it in perspective, if Petals wasn't available, what would be offered to people, do you think? Would it be anything, or would it just be?
So if your hospital doesn't have Petals counselling, you aren't offered anything. If you suffer a loss, you aren't offered. There's nothing. So obviously you can pay for personal, counselling. Mm-hmm. It depends what if your local NHS has anything that you can self-refer to or anything like that. But really, there's very little for support for people that go through miscarriages, especially multiple miscarriages as well. So it is a really incredible service, and not every hospital can offer it.
So it does sound like an amazing service, and something that, as you were saying, if this charity isn't in that hospital, you're not getting anything really. So it's amazing that you're putting this together to raise money for them, because it sounds like they need it, because they need to get to more people and they need to be spread. So is one of the intentions of this is for them to be able to offer support in different hospitals now? Would they kind of expand their reach, or just more people within the hospitals they already go to?
Hopefully a bit of both. So we would love to see. I mean, the Petals has got hopes and aspirations to be at more and more hospitals. As they go through their growth period and they're able to support more and more people. But at the moment, locally, there are between 50 and 60 bereaved parents, bereaved couples that are currently on a waiting list for counselling. Wow. And so at the moment, the book has managed to raise enough money so far to pay for 4 couples, mm-hmm. Fully funded counselling sessions. So that's 6 sessions, £120. So we've raised, actually yesterday we've raised over £1,700 already, and that's been in the space of just literally a week and a day. So that's an incredible amount of money. So that's 4 couples off of that wait list that now can actually go ahead with their counselling sessions. That it just makes such a huge difference, doesn't it? We were such a dark place before we were able to speak to somebody about what we were going through.
They came at day one, didn't they? Really, Jackie was there like with Petals from right from the start, really, wasn't she?
Yeah,
she was just amazing.
Yeah, she was incredible. So we suffered a miscarriage, our first miscarriage, and it was just like, it's kind of, you can't explain it in words how traumatic it is and how kind of life-changing it is, because the minute that you find out you're pregnant, you have all of these hopes and kind of aspirations about what your child's life will be like, and what your life will be like, and what your family will be like. And when you suffer a miscarriage, it's not just the loss of that person that you were creating, it's the loss of all of your kind of hopes and dreams and all of those things that you thought that your life was going to look like. And it's a really lonely place to be when you don't have people to talk about it, or you don't know anyone that's been through that. So Petals offer that shoulder, they offer that level of understanding, and they offer that safe space where you can say the things that you might not be able to say to your friends.
Yeah. And like you're saying, if your friends have never experienced that or have no knowledge of it, I mean, you know, best will in the world, they're not going to be able to offer you that same support, are they? And also sometimes it's easier to speak to people who don't know you, have nothing to do with your life, and you know, you can have that kind of private conversation with them, and then you step away from it and you can go about your business. And yeah, it must be
yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what they do.
Before we move on then, how do people download the book? How do people donate?
So you just go to our website. So if you go to avalilyproperty.com/ebook, you will see all of the information about what the book contains. You'll understand what you might learn from it. And then right at the bottom of the page is a little donation form, and you can donate a minimum fee of £18.99. Or if you're feeling super generous, you can donate £20 or £30, or you can even donate whatever you want. You can donate whatever you feel you are able to offer. And people, I have to say a huge thank you, because people have been so incredibly generous. You know, people have been donating way over the £18.99, you know, minimum fee, and we're really grateful for that. We had we actually had a donation yesterday from an old colleague of mine who I haven't even spoken to Mike for a really, really long time, but he actually donated £420 yesterday, which will fully fund the 6 sessions for one couple. So that absolutely smashed our total out of the water. So a big thank you to Mike Morrison for that.
That's amazing. So anybody who's listening to this, if you're sat at a computer or your phone or whatever, go to that link. You don't need to stop listening to us. Go to the link, put your hand in your pocket, go and download it. You're in property, so you're obviously a little bit flush. So you might as well, you know, put a couple of £100. What did that guy put down? 420.
£420. So there you go. If you feel like you want to top Mike's offer, go for it.
Honestly, I mean, there's obviously going to be a leader chart. So we will be. I mean, anybody who, I mean, 420. I mean, 500, 600, 700. You might as well whack it up and you know, really make a difference for some people. Instead of
go for it.
spending cash on something frivolous, go and you know, change some people's lives while you're at it. So yeah, no, it's really, really powerful. So if people go, which they should, you should just go and download the book and make the donation. But when they download the book and they start reading through it, is there anything that you learned from the contributions that kind of surprised you, or any kind of really big lessons that kind of stick out?
No, I don't know about surprising, but what I really liked is understanding. You know, so we asked one of the questions about what do you see as like your biggest failure, or can you what would you see as your biggest kind of failure that you've learned from? And I think some of those stories were really interesting, because they're never really failures. They're all things that we, you know, I don't know, stresses and things that you go through that are a big like learning lesson for you. But what was also really nice is there's a question in there about habits and things that you've done over the past couple of years that have made a big difference to your life. And actually a lot of people said like they've got a dog. And I really love this. So there's an amazing account that amazing woman Sarah who is one of the contributors, and her Instagram is House Obsessed, and her Instagram is incredible. Go and check it out. And yeah, one of her biggest habits was she got a dog, and it's kind of changed like the way that she goes about her day. You know, she's got routine because she takes the dog out for walks and stuff, and it's a really kind of positive thing that's happened. So it's things like that I really like understanding how like the things that make people tick. But then there's some incredible knowledge in there around kind of just interior design in general, really. So things about like space planning, which is a really big thing for me to get my head around. There's things in there around you know, best like tips and tricks for like what's the best thing that you could, what's the thing that you could purchase for under £100 that would have the biggest effect on your design. And those the answers to that are really interesting. So a lot of people talk about paint or lighting or staging items, you know, and so things like that is I'm just ticking them all away up here for the next project that we're working on.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not the kind of expensive option, is it, that really makes the impact, that really has the impact. So from reading this book, I would assume that people end up, you know, having really nice looking rental properties and probably save a little bit of cash on them. So you're gonna, if you're listening to this, you're gonna increase your rent, you're going to do it cheaper than you think. So lump that on top of the donation as well, because obviously we want to get this charity as much as possible.
Yes.
So it's an investment. It's an investment as well as you know, helping out the charity. So yeah, no, it does. It sounds it's a great book, and obviously you know, there's a lot of people who have contributed and who, you know, have really provided a lot of this information to you. But you have a section in there as well. So are you sharing your experiences, or are you sharing your design tips and stuff yourselves, or is it just like an introduction?
Yeah, no, we've there's an introduction in there that explains why we've created this book and why it's important to achieve with it. But yeah, we did from a kind of design perspective. We answered the questions ourselves because we thought, well, you know, let's put our kind of spin on it in there. So yeah, you'll find some tips and tricks from me. You know, I am not a fully qualified interior designer. I've just done stuff for myself and kind of friends and family and things like that. But yeah, there's tips from us around design, and there's things like, you know, I talk a lot about, you know, one of my failures was really kind of undervaluing myself when I was a bit younger. So maybe not I don't know if I see it as a failure, because it's kind of brought me to where I am in terms of running an agency and kind of running and being part of Avalily Property. But you know, those things that the experiences that you go through when you're younger that kind of make you the person that you are now.
Yeah.
And I just kind of, I drifted a lot. I was younger in terms of like my career. I didn't really focus on where I wanted. Yeah, like, do you know, I mean, we've talked about it before, haven't you? I know. You've
had an agency for 15 years. That wasn't much drifting. Oh my God.
But that, well, yeah. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I know. I was quite young when I set it up, but I'd worked in loads of different places before then, and I think that we talked before about like crazy jobs that we've had and stuff. And I never really, I don't know, like nowadays people kind of have a bit more of a vision of like the companies they want to work for and what they want to do. Whereas I was like, yeah, that looks all right, I'll go and work there for a couple of years, you know, or I just drifted around a lot and I didn't really think about what I was doing. And I think that's what I would probably do differently now. I'd be more kind of focused on stuff. But like I said, I don't know if that's a failure, because I ended up doing what I've been doing for years. But
it's obviously something that a lot of people who read this will relate to, and I'm sure, you know, other contributors will have things in there they'll relate to and be able to kind of think about themselves and maybe do differently, or kind of you know, kind of think to themselves that maybe they're doing fine and they're feeling very well off, so they might as well you know, put in a nice little donation to Petals while they're at it.
Do it.
Well, thank you. That's brilliant. Thank you for giving us a rundown of you know, the book and you know, what the important work that the charity does. Can you just remind people where they need to go to download the book and donate as well? Because we might as well get one more reminder in.
You please visit avalilyproperty.com/ebook, or if you are following us on Instagram, then the link is in our bio. So you can just head straight to there and go through to it. Also, please go and follow. There's a few posts that I've put on our Instagram grid, and all of the contributors are tagged in it. Please go and follow them. All of the people that have donated their time and their insight into this book, they're real experts in what they do, and they've done this all for free. They've donated. They've given so much. So please go and follow them, please go and support them as well, and say a big thank you to them, because we're so grateful for everybody's contribution. It's it's been incredible.
That's amazing. Well, thank you again for coming on, and I really do hope that you get some more donations from this podcast. We'll obviously continue to support. The link is also in our bio on Co-Live-It, so we'll push during the week and try and get this out to as many people as possible, and hopefully a few of those people will contribute maybe £1,000 or so in donation, per person. I'm not talking in total, so let's really try and get that, because I mean, you raised 15 grand, didn't you, before, when you were doing the last thing? So it'd be great if you could top that.
Nearly on 15 grand. So there's some big, there's a big milestone there that we need to hit.
And really, the property community is an amazing community, and really helpful, open people. And we know you've got some cash, so you might as well make some donations. Right, I'm going to stop banging that drum.
Thank you so much, Stuart. Thanks for come on and talk about this. I really appreciate it, and thank you for what that you've shown us.
No worries. It's been a pleasure. Okay, see you soon then.
Cheers.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode, and I don't want to say anything else apart from go and buy yourself a copy, go and download it and donate to that fantastic charity. Well, I hope you enjoy the book when you go and get it. But for now, that's it from me. Best of luck, and I'll see you again next time. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have, please leave me a 5-star review to help other people find it, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.